Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Jagged Edge, number 73.
Here we are.
This is Ian here, along with Chris.
Well, we have some things to say today.
Don't we always?
every week with more words. But yeah, we got some crappy things to talk about this week. Every once in a while, we end up with a week where some really stupid things happen, and yeah, we've got some of that this week.
This is one of them on multiple fronts. Mainly in the tech end. As always, we got some stuff in gaming, but as well as movies, as always. And if you've been listening to the show, I bet you can guess what type of movies we're leaning towards as well.
Oh, yeah, they're just shitting the bed all over. It's just, look at that, just throw those sheets out.
That's I don't know if dry cleaners can fix that, man.
No, they can't. They can't fix this stuff.
No. Hey, and also, if you guys are checking it out, we have a whole lot going on here. We've delved into our Let's Plays on this channel. We've got Mega Man, and we are working. So, by all means, tune in and watch. If you guys dig, spread that word around so we can keep bringing that kind of content and more on top of our normal reviews and on top of this show that we do weekly. So,
yeah.
Without any other ado, though, hey, right into it. Movie-wise, this is Henry Cavill. See, I did it.
You did it.
I did it.
Waiting too.
I did it.
I was waiting if I was going to have to correct you. Correct you about the wrong way to say his name.
And to be specific, you guys haven't heard it. I've got this terrible habit of whenever I see, a.k.a. Soups, whenever I see his name, I always want to say Cavill because it doesn't.
Cavill.
It doesn't feel like Calvary. I mean,
It is. You are probably saying it the right way. That no one says it like that.
Yeah.
There's other names like Brett Favre,
right?
Who obviously is a Wisconsin native here. That's me. Obviously, we would say that name forever, but it's not actually pronounced Favre. It's because it's spelled Favre.
Yeah.
But that's how we decided collectively as a nation we would say this name. Same thing.
Collective wins. You've been assimilated.
No one, he probably hadn't been called Favre since high school.
Yeah,
if not middle school.
Oh man. But hey,
so same thing.
Same thing applies here. This was from Hollywood Reporter. This was cited that negotiations looks like they've broken down for an appearance of Superman in the Shazam movie that's upcoming here. Now, this is a little worrisome because this is a sign that Cavill himself, he's actually likely done playing the role of Superman. Now, this goes on top of the WB stating that there aren't plans to make another Superman movie for several years. But
that's the stupidest thing. Okay, there's a lot of stupid here, but
there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack. I almost want to feel we should pause there and talk about that a minute before I go into the rest of this segment.
No. We should probably wrap that up in one big argument or bitch fest about it.
Okay, deal. The deal, though, is even though there's no plans for the next several years for a Superman movie, the studio is moving ahead with a Supergirl origin movie during her teens that, if following most of the comic book lore, that would put Superman at about the infant stage, or around that time of her life. So, another source of the Hollywood Reporter also said that Superman is like James Bond, and after a certain run, you gotta look at other actors.
I mean, I always felt that way, as in
Sure.
I never felt that way ever about it, but yeah.
I guess the world is not enough.
I mean, I never knew it. I see what you did.
Yeah, you see it. You got it. Yeah. WB also put out a statement saying, in part, that we have a great relationship and great respect for Henry Cavill that continues to remain unchanged. Additionally, we have made no current decisions regarding any upcoming Superman films. Now, this all happens among an attempt by WB to sort of reset the DC brand, as well as almost all the current worlds of DC movies. They've all underperformed financially. They haven't been very well received. And honestly, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, these are two of the standouts. They're sort of the exceptions to this, even though, well, Man of Steel had its own issues in and of itself. But I mean, hey, you got a couple beacons, but DC's gotten roughed up, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the overpowered superheroes do not seem to be doing so well at the box office. Like, this is so okay. So Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are probably out.
Right.
Where do you start with that? Other than what do you? Here's what I think is probably happening here. This is my opinion. A lot of this is my opinion. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these actors that do these superhero movies and such, some of them cross over. They play different roles, but they play in other movies. I have to think that Henry Cavill has probably had conversations with people over at the MCU side, actors over on the MCU side, and is probably more than a little upset with the way he gets treated over in WB and how these movies get treated. Not just himself, but the movies as well.
Right.
I mean, this, the worlds of DC, as it's called now. I mean, they, shit the bed number one here, okay? Because, I mean, this is nasty. These movies have been nasty, but people love aspects of these movies, and we've known for a long time that Ben Affleck was probably done. They were talking about a cameo for him in Flash, and that's probably not going to happen either, just like they were talking about a cameo of Superman in Shazam.
Exactly.
But Henry Cavill as Superman has been one of the best parts of this franchise. Yeah, right? He's been in 3 movies now. I think he's been in more than any of the other ones. Because the first one started with him. So, and people have not liked aspects of how they've written Superman and how they've directed Superman. But Henry Cavill as Superman has been probably one of the best received parts of this whole franchise. And it's, you've already lost Ben Affleck. You've got Gal Gadot, and you've got Wonder Woman, and that's the thing. Although I think they're going to, as I've been saying, I think they're going to jump the shark with that next year.
Yeah.
But you lose this guy. You're that confident in this reboot that you're thinking about doing, even though you still spit out, well, we're in production of Birds of Prey 5 for next year. So you haven't released the first 4 yet. How many Joker movies are you making now? But you've got this, and you've got this guy, and he likes to do it.
Yeah.
He loves that he's this guy, and you're gonna do you brought this up. Actually, I usually don't miss this stuff. You were the one that brought up the Supergirl thing a few weeks back,
right? I
think about a month ago or so, which is fine. But you don't even need to have Superman in that. No. But to say that you're producing a Supergirl movie and you're not even thinking about the next Man of Steel. You're not even thinking about it. Maybe. Really?
It's just like, look, Superman cannot be just thrown around lightly. This is the headline character. Like, if our superheroes go in DC,
Batman, I think, people will debate one or the other, but he's definitely one of the two.
Yeah.
Some people obviously have their preference. I don't know who I would decide out of the two.
Right.
I think they both bring important aspects in proper storytelling, which has been the problem. These guys meshed like peanut butter and rocks in Batman v Superman. Because of how well they did it, which was not at all, but you've got a guy who loves to do this. Him and Ben Affleck both are, they're psyched about this world. And look, you have not done well with it, but you still have some good foundation here. You can build off of what you've done as long as you do a proper reset. I think it's time to start looking at next level stuff here when it comes to DC. And the next level is, will people even want to see your new Batman movies and your new Superman movies when they know that they won't have the kind of support that they should?
Right.
Are you going to tank a franchise that bad that people won't even look at it because they don't trust the people behind it?
Oof.
You're getting into Sony's Spider-Man area at that point. Which, if I remember correctly, is the first time that's ever happened. But now you're going there. We'll talk about Sony after this.
Rough, man.
I think that's where we're going here.
Yeah, it's some real dangerous grounds to be on. Yeah.
I think what they're thinking is, well, we'll do Supergirl and we'll still do Flash and you got Shazam. And, maybe they're part of this world and maybe they're part of the... I thought it was weird when at Comic-Con they announced that it was called the Worlds of DC.
Same.
Why isn't it the World of DC?
Yeah, and they had this really weird unveiling to it. Look, For DC's radar seems to be wherever. I mean, like a lot of studios, sure, but it seems to be wherever they believe the most profitability is. It just so happens, especially if you look at the shows through WB, Supergirl's been doing really well on its run, and there's this tendency to sort of latch on and just blow those stories up to the high heavens while letting the others dissipate. It's almost like the best way I can prescribe it right now. It seems like an uncoordinated juggling act. You take these different stories and different characters and kind of juggle around. It's like, oh wait, those two up there are doing really awesome, and then like 4 balls drop, and then we go down to 2, and then we'll slowly build the rest back in. Whereas holistically, DC has the same soup, the same potential, easily that Marvel did coming out the gate, with enough characters, enough villains, enough background story to just sort of just build a rolling harmony and just have all this stuff coexist instead of flavor of the week. I just worry about playing that flavor of the week to the point where you've catered to the popular characters or like the popular villains so much, and then really let any kind of larger plot line develop. If that's your intention, okay, so be it. You just want to make standalones that are unconnected. I understand that. I would think off the top of my head that lends itself more to flavor of the day. But if you're trying to develop worlds plural and marry all this stuff, that's bad times, man.
I don't think it'll work. Here, as a premise, I agree that what you just said would probably be fine. Look, we have these DC characters. We're going to do what we did for decades. We're going to make unconnected franchises with Superman, with Batman. They'll do 2 or 3 movies, or maybe even more. They're not going to be connected. Maybe a wink and a nudge as to this or that, but they're not going to be connected. And I think that's fine after the dust has settled with the DCEU or the worlds of DC. All right. The problem is that the dust is not settled. You still got Aquaman out there. You've still got Flash out there. You've got Shazam out there. You've got Wonder Woman out there. These things are going to be around for the next few years. All right. People are they're going to be pissed because you're still putting out these movies and they're connected. Oh, they're just what are they just not connected anymore? But they are. But they are no, they are. I saw it. Wonder Woman and Aquaman were kicking ass in that shitty Justice League movie. And then what they probably won't do is they probably won't let the dust settle. They probably won't let that go away. So, well, we got money, got to keep turning it out. So, all that's going to do is antagonize and irritate people because every time they see Wonder Woman, they're going to remember about the world that she's in and what they could have had.
Right.
And that's going to make people not want to go see it. They've put themselves in a position where these movies will do poorly just because it will keep reminding them about how crappy they did. And people aren't going to want to see that. I mean, this whole thing makes me want to see, if this is the direction they're going in, makes me want to see the upcoming Batman movie, which is going to be out in the next couple of years. It makes me want to see it less.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so unfortunate to say that, man. I mean,
I know it's crazy. Because it's not that it's not going to be in a connected world. It's because I know it probably was going to be in a connected world,
right?
And you're just not putting towards the effort. I mean, look, you're Warner Brothers. You have all the money.
Yep.
You have a better connection with this franchise and with the rights of the IPs than Marvel did when they started.
Yep.
They had like a handful of their guys, and the vast majority of their best ones were elsewhere, X-Men and Spider-Man and all that. But they built off of what they had.
Yep.
I guess I think at the end of the day, it bothers me because we have the MCU and we've had the MCU and we can see quality come out of this, and we're not getting that from DC because you just don't wanna. You've got actors that want it. You've got fans that want it. You've got all the money to make all the contracts and do all the things that you want to. But what's in the way? I think ego and pride.
Yeah.
And I will not suffer that. I have to suffer it enough. And I'm not going to suffer it because, you don't want to, because it's hard.
Right.
It's, get over yourself. I said it, and I wasn't joking when I said it months ago, and I'll say it again. They need to have a sit down with Kevin Feige, and how do we make this work?
Yeah.
How can we do this for us?
Right. It comes down to having a vision.
Did I make sense with all that stuff I just said?
More than.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
No, I'm completely tracking. It comes down to, I think, having that vision, connecting to the larger world, but being confident enough to, look, if that starts off as a slow boil, so be it. You can't expect to have the same roaring success as MCU, and I feel it's sort of the same itis that even has slipped into gaming. With the success of something like World of Warcraft, which spawned a bajillion clones. That still happens, with the same type of formula. You don't just produce that overnight. It's something that you need to constantly build upon, something that needs to be nurtured, as you said, working with the assets you have.
Well, I think what's even different, but I agree with your analogy with one point, which is the fact that unlike an MMO, which sucks down a bunch of time, these you have people who can, and in mass and in the same freaking demographics and audiences, if not more so, because then you're also talking about the DC niche.
Yep.
Who want this just like the MCU. You can't play 2 MMOs and God help the man who tries, but you can go see all these movies.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's been
good.
proven at this point. There's probably a dozen or so superhero movies that come out every year, and what they were saying we were going to get 3 or 4 a year, something like that. We're getting 1 this year, and I think we're getting 2 next year. We're getting Shazam and Wonder Woman. Maybe at some point they'll do Flash. I don't know. They've been teasing that thing for years now. They're on Director 50 or something at this point. I don't know, but I just don't understand it. Well, no, you know what? I do understand it. They I don't know all the reasons as to why, but they just don't have their shit together like they should. Marvel Studios came out of nowhere and in 10 years made everyone their bitch. And they did it with a smile on their face and a handshake, and they didn't have to be mean about anything. And is it probably all as rosy as that? No, but it certainly seems that way. And it's like, but you're Warner Brothers. You have all the stuff.
Yeah.
Why can't you do this?
Crazy, right? I mean,
and now you're losing Superman. In this guy. I mean, it's so hard. You know who they were the last series time they were thinking about Superman? Besides Return to Superman, which that was also a good actor. I can't remember his name right now.
Right.
That was also a good actor too. But you know who it was before that? It was Nicolas Cage.
No.
Yes.
No.
It really was, though.
Oh, my. I almost wonder at this rate if they end up going the Supergirl route and everything else, if they get the, who is it, the guy that's playing Superman right now in the TV series. If they just bring him into play. I don't know.
He looks all right. Yeah, I mean, but now you have to... And no one has ever thought what he says in there, he's kind of like James Bond, and every once in a while you guys... No, that's never happened ever. That no one ever thought that ever. What are you trying to convince that? I mean, no one ever thought that.
Oh, man.
People have always finished their runs in their eras with it. Christopher Reeve, and then what was his name on Lois and Clark on the ABC show?
Right.
He did his whole run, and I think even going back to the 50s in those old Superman movies, I think it was the same guy with all of his demons, to which there were many. I don't remember a lot of the specifics, but I mean he had all kinds of problems when he did his run. And then no one has ever been like, no, after 4 films we're going to switch. No one's these are not all connected like the James Bond movies. You had the one guy who did the reboot with Return of Superman because obvious reasons I shouldn't have to tell anybody that Christopher Reeves could not play the role, and no one's ever thought of that ever. That's like too much smoke up my ass that you're trying to push. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear a few F-bombs on this show.
I'm getting the jar out.
But that pisses me off. That's too much smoke and mirrors. It's like, it's like James Bond. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I remember. Oh wait, no, I don't remember when that was ever like that because it was never like that. Superman movies have not ever been like that. We do not have 20-some Superman movies with 5 different actors over decades.
No. Redonkulous.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I will stop. So this is dumb, and this is probably the end of. I think this is it. I really do. I think this is it for the DCEU, the worlds of DC. Good luck to you.
Yeah, it's still trying to start, man. Oh well.
We'll see if I'm wrong about Wonder Woman, which I hope I am, because I really don't.
I hope you are too.
Hope. I have no hopes for this movie. From what I've seen, I think they're gonna jump the shark bad on this one. But if I'm wrong, then maybe I'll say otherwise. But as of right now, my opinion and my bet would be this is it. That's the final nail in the coffin. Throw that fucker in the ground. There it goes.
All right. Right I had the jar ready. Hand it over.
Coffin in the ground and bury it.
Hand it over.
All right. Now I'm really done.
All right.
I think.
I was about to say. I was like, he can't be done till the bomb drops.
I'm mad about this one.
No, you rightfully should be. And I think also, look, I'd even go as far as to say, at least I've always felt this during our time talking about it. You've had a slightly closer connection to DC than,
which is hilarious.
I have. It is in and of itself. So, oh man. Uphill, it's all uphill, man. It's going to be rough. Let me ask you this. And envision this in your own mind. Yep.
Do you honestly believe that within the next 5 years, we will see Superman and Batman on screen together again with completely different actors than what we saw 2 years ago? No. And what the hell is wrong with them? We can't even say that we'll see Superman and Batman together again. But the fact that whole scenario even could exist.
Yeah. It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those times where you're like, are you doing this on purpose? And I think in some cases they are. It's like, are you trying to tank this? What are you doing?
There's self-sabotage. There's this sabotage. I don't even know what to call that.
And the only hope, and I've seen a couple people comment that, maybe this all brings them back to the table when they actually see the reaction, which, by the way, if it isn't obvious, the reaction to Henry Cavill not being Superman anymore has been astoundingly anger, I think, and just frustration.
Rightfully so.
There's been, obviously, you have your outliers, but for the most part, the vast majority of the attention on this in social media has been WTF. And
it sucks.
So, all right.
All right. R.I.P. More to come, I'm sure. About ratings, though. Ratings. This is one we've been following closely. That's Venom, and it's funny because this has been. I almost had a piece in this, but I figured it wouldn't be worth commenting on individually, so I'll just mention it here. This has been a movie that has just been almost like to narcoleptic levels with PG-13 rated R, PG-13 rated R. And it's still being teased that this is going to have some kind of uncut release at some point. Look, whatever. It's official. The MPAA announced that the rating for Venom, as of this week, despite many wishes of those production of the film, along with the director, everyone else, this is
the premise
PG-13.
of this franchise.
And the premise of the franchise, that's it.
Yeah.
It's PG-13. This completely goes against the initial promotion that was done by the Sony Spider-Man universe that Sony said it was going to be, and also leaning more towards that adult-oriented superhero universe. Look, hey, this is likely due to Sony wanting to connect the film and its larger franchise with the MCU, and this is where you start to shoot yourself in the foot a little bit. Like, no, I just, and this is grounds we've covered before. It's difficult to see how you tell a true and honest story with Venom without it being rated R. This is someone who has crime and problem-solving techniques almost completely opposite and contrasted to what Spider-Man does. He is the epitome of what a twisted sense of justice is. And it's just hard for me to imagine that outside of, like, even Deadpool levels of violence or stuff like that we see. So, I don't know, man.
Now the only advantage I see to this, I mean, overall, I'm upset about this one too. But the only advantage I see to this is potentially it's kind of funny because Sony's like, oh, if we could just, branding. If we could just say that this is this is part of the MCU, and they're right. That's probably hundreds of millions of dollars more just to have that label on these series of movies.
Probably is.
And they're not wrong there. But the way I look at it is like, oh my God, that means that the MCU will probably have some amount of control over this shit. And I can at least expect decent movies out of here. Because they've made some bad ones, but even the bad ones, I look back at some of them, it's like, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
Sure.
But, it's kind of a new experiment when you have a whole shared universe to play with. It kind of does put a different spin on each movie individually. I am disappointed about this overall. I was, it kind of seemed like Sony was like, well, look, they've got Spider-Man, but we've got all this over here. We've got this awesome rogue gallery of his. We could make some movies out of this. Some tongue-in-cheek, adult-oriented, rated R, anti-hero movies. That was the premise.
Yeah.
That's what they told us this was going to be. And it was going to be Venom, and it was going to be Silver and Black with Silver Sable, Black Cat, and a few others. They've talked about Morbius, which sounds like a great idea. Craven the Hunter, I'm still not sold on that.
Right.
A couple others as well. But here we are. And they started, earlier in the year, or maybe it was late last year, it's like, oh, what's his name? The guy who plays Spider-Man. Forget it right now.
What? Right.
He's on a tangent right now.
Oh wait. Which one? Currently?
Yeah, currently.
Oh, wow! I remember the other two.
Little British kid.
a little British kid. You mean Tom Holland? Tom Holland. I got you. You're going.
Yep. Then Tom Holland visits the set of Venom, and ever since. No, maybe part of the MCU, maybe not. We're going to see Spider-Man. Now it's PG-13. Thank you. This, and I just saw what was actually a really, not a very good, but highly enjoyable rated R movie in The Predator. And so now I really want to see more of this. Because, I mean, seriously, you could almost put Venom in that world and it would make sense in the movie we just saw.
True.
I just did a review for it.
True.
As much sense as anything else we saw in that movie. But, now this worries me about Deadpool. Now I'm not totally sure if Disney will play nice with Deadpool. I don't want a PG-13 Deadpool movie. Do you?
No.
And you not enjoy the vulgarity as much as I do, that's for sure. So, I don't know. Is it here's what I want. Here's what I'd rather have. I'd rather have this adult-oriented anti-superhero Spider-Man Sony universe by itself, rated R by itself, than see Venom and Spider-Man ever tango, if that's what that meant.
Sure.
Especially because this Venom isn't based off of the way it should be. His origin is not
exactly
based off of Spider-Man. So you've kind of killed half the fun with it.
Yeah.
And and they're giving him some of his villains. We're getting we had Vulture, we're getting Mysterio, and hey, that's fine. You can give MCU Spider-Man's G-rated villains that low on the list, and they'll still make $800 million with them.
Yes, they will,
as you saw. So that's
they will.
They're probably like, no, that's okay. That's all right. You can give us Craven the Hunter. We'll make a movie out of him. And they're like, no, we'll do it ourselves. Thank you very much, and we'll make half the money. I would rather have that because this is disappointing. I was really looking forward to this Sony Spider-Man thing because I think if done correctly, they really could have created their own niche here
easily,
and they could have. I think it's a good launching for all these companies that are trying to start these shared universes. This is actually a pretty safe launch pad.
It is.
But, yeah, I don't know. And that's not to say this won't do badly. But we're definitely not going to get the right kind of Venom movie now.
No.
And that's disappointing. I mean, that one trailer about him ripping off his arms and his legs and his face and his head rolling down the street like a turd. I mean, how much of that are we going to get now? I bet you that's the extent of it.
Pretty much. The frustrating thing about this is over the years, especially now, there's no shortage of talent or who they actually pick to be in said roles. I mean, some just acclaimed actors. Like I said, I was just blown away. Like freaking Tom Hardy, man. I mean, that's fantastic. So there's no shortage of talent, the resources, the effects, the ability to recruit, to make all the tools to make something amazing are there. But we've just reached this really interesting point now where we come down to universe sharing. Man, this is such a snag point because everybody wants to do it and sort of copy what we've seen set up on the board, but the actual execution of it runs into so many issues. Now I'm glad to see some of those issues being cleared, some of those hurdles. Like we worried for a long time of the Sony stuff being so separate. Oh man, Spider-Man's never going to make it into the MCU. Oh man, we won't see this. Well, I mean, look at today. We've made enough headway to where he is in the MCU, where he has made his appearance, where he skipped an origin story and everything. So sometimes it takes some time, but it's really made me rethink just how complex the gears are when you have the IP and the rights parsed to so many different hands. And depending where they are and where they're located at one point in time, you get a completely different designation of what something can become or what it might not can become. Or wait, I'm allowed to do that. No, wait, you're allowed to do this. It's just, it gets tricky to play with. And then to the situation here where you even have the director and the cast saying, I want my movie rated R. I said, no, it's not rated R here. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how much internal conflict that there has been over this. Only that there has been. Like Tom Hardy said that in this almost the sole reason that he took this role is because Venom is his kid's favorite superhero, and so was it. I don't know. I'm sure he signed on for an R-rated movie, but at the same time, he's probably been helping with make it PG-13. That'd be so great. Then my son could watch it. I wouldn't have to worry about it. You were gonna have your son watch it anyways.
You were already gonna do that. Yeah.
You probably took your son to go watch The Predator this last weekend. I don't know what you're saying.
It's nice that he's gonna show his son the R-rated cut. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but don't get me started on that because that's don't get me back over on the DCEU. I won't. Because that whole unrated cut crap. Don't even get me started. That was their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's release the unrated Snyder cut. Yeah, 20 minutes of more Snyder action. That's okay. Yeah, don't even get me started. Yeah. I don't know.
Well. Oh well. Well, wait, we're still gonna go see it. So.
We're gonna see it, and I hope I like it. And Disney needs to. It's been a long time since they've made an R-rated movie. They have made some. It has been a very long time. They've never done well for them.
No.
Them and wanting to be the family entertainment. You can be a family entertainment brand and still make R-rated movie. Well, maybe you can't. Maybe that you can't.
Well, here's the thing. Disney have put themselves in a precarious situation. I'd almost dare say it's nearly impossible to position yourself as, well, we only do, this type of rating, or, we only do this family, with the amount of resources they've absorbed at this point, with how massive they are. Look, these spaces that they've taken up are not without their own consequences or expectations. When you expand, now you've taken over that and you own that space now. So, hey, you got to do something with it. A lot of that, what they've taken over too, some of that's R-rated space. So,
like Aliens, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right there.
You can only put Sony Mickey Mouse ears and like squeak toys on effects. So.
Now you just got me thinking about an alien like chomping into someone's head who was wearing Mickey Mouse ears.
There you go. It's just what I was thinking about.
And then it made a little squeaky noise when it jammed its tongue mouth into its skull.
Oh man!
I want to see that. That needs to happen now. If this didn't have the MCU brand attached to it, I'd probably be completely pissed off. But because they've not really let me down yet,
Right.
Yeah, I don't. But it's not them behind the creative push behind this. It's Sony,
Exactly.
and they have let me down a lot. So,
There's a completely different track record we're considering
you
here.
know, I mean, just the fact that it did not get my Aunt May spy movie prequel.
Yeah. Right.
Where's my?
Oh, that just hurts my head.
That was a thing. That was a thing.
Why?
These people make movies. They made a damn good game, though.
Oh yeah. Hey. True. I'm not going to sit here and argue
Or
that.
should I say they paid Insomniac to make it?
Yeah. There you go. So no complaints there, but no, it's wild. It's wild, dude. So
All right.
Marvel's going to keep doing its thing until somebody else gets the shared universe formula.
You
Right?
know, can I say one more thing?
No, go, by all means.
Sony, just detach your lips from MCU's ass. Jesus Christ. It's pitiful. I mean, doesn't it feel like that?
Yeah.
I had a different analogy I was going to use that for before, but that's even too vulgar for me. That's well over R-rated. That's getting into X-rated. I figured I'd use the R-rated version. And
Wow, if you're saying that.
Yeah. Get your lips off their butt. It's crazy. It really is. Show some dignity.
Man. One of these days.
Being brave enough to create your own universe off of anti-heroes that could have actually worked.
Easily.
No, that's all right. Just keep putting your lips on their butt. Can you tell what I want to say there? But I'm not saying.
Oh, I can tell.
Okay.
I know where you're going with that.
All right.
Well, hey, that gives us a good segue. Someone who's not paying lip service, but who's just throwing the service completely out the window. Who doesn't care, especially about if you were a customer, you purchased some movies. Oh well. This is coming straight from Apple. Now, there are reports, is also verified by Forbes, that Apple is straight up deleting purchased films from iTunes accounts, and you're not going to get a refund for it. This came up that, again, this is for films that you've actually bought that are part of your account, not just rented. And when complaints have been submitted about this, there's this just awesome message from Apple that says, hey, look, iTunes is not a storefront. So Apple can't be to blame if a film studio decides it no longer wants to make its titles available on iTunes.
Yes, they can.
Oh, unbelievable! Look, Apple. When I was in school, Apple was my go-to for hardware, tech-wise. I had an iTunes account and things like that, but I was never one of those Apple everything guys. I gotta have the phone. I gotta have this. I gotta have all the apps and stuff like that. Now, for what it was, iTunes was, handy, but I never got into the movie purchasing side of it. If I wanted to go check out something, I do it on like a Netflix, or I just go get a digital copy somewhere else, or just go get the Blu-ray copy. And it's crazy because this is always something I've worried about in the back of my mind, and just kind of really feared about digital copies through a service like iTunes or something like that. I remember one of the first things I thought about that was, man, what if they yank this? Like, I'm not holding a physical copy in my hand. I don't like that, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is. This is a nightmare scenario in an age where we were in cloud-based computing, cloud-based storage, buying digital movies, and having things to your access at any time library. Yeah, man, anytime. Until we decide not to.
Yeah, look, it is a nightmare scenario. It's exactly why you have older people like us. And there's several years difference between us, but we like to have, when we buy something, we like to have it in our little hand.
Put it in my hand.
We like to touch it and smell it, and maybe wipe our smell on it. And but we like to have something that physically shows we purchased this,
right?
And it is ours.
Yep.
See, I have it in my hand. And if I want to sell this, there's actually people or places that will give me money back for this. No, this is a nightmare. I think that's perfect right there. Nightmare scenario right here.
Yeah.
This is why we don't, we like to have something physical. This is why we question not having something physical. It's kind of funny because we were having conversations about something similar to this with games.
Sure were.
And
sure
how you were saying that I'm kind of coming around to not not having physical copies of stuff. I don't feel the same.
Right. Right.
And this is exactly why. Now look. Here's the real scoop on this. They will tell you, well, you signed and agreed to the terms of service, and it was in there saying that in terms of service we can make your brand. No one read that, and there were cases that came up 20 years ago that stated that, look, if you put out an overly convoluted, ridiculous terms of service and expect people to follow and read that, you're wrong. There's basic premise of purchase for goods, and it's theirs. Now, I don't use iTunes. I have other ways of getting MP3s and stuff that I want. But from everything I've read on this, people had no reason to assume anything other than they bought these movies.
Right.
They are theirs. They kept them on your player. Well, maybe one, because they didn't have a choice, but secondly, because they trusted you as a consumer.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure about where this is leading for lawsuits yet, but I bet you there's going to be some.
Yeah.
And they will not be able to fall back and, well, the terms of service is all the way near the end in the 51st paragraph and third line says that production studios may be able to pull their movies off the list after they purchase, and that's not going to cut it.
No,
that's not going to do it.
And you hit on something key with these agreements. A lot of these agreements have become so lengthy and so long. The expectation for the average consumer to go through, let's say, like 70 pages of documentation to agree to something that, let's face it, they didn't know that. I mean, they just know that in that moment, I have to hit yes if I want to watch that video.
Right.
They're going to do it. Of course they're going to agree.
And if everyone actually stopped to read all those agreements, they would lose millions.
Yep.
Not probably tens of millions, not just in the amount of time it would take and people just saying, screw it. But just people who, damn it, cut. I had a second point to that and I completely forgot.
Okay, it's okay. Just give just a little bit of space here so I'll know where to edit this.
That's all right. Yeah, just take me back to the beginning of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll wing it.
Okay, I'll count you off.
Okay. Just let me know when to go.
Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and just, they cannot have the expectation that people are going to read this. And like I said, there was court cases. I don't know if you remember this or not. You're a little bit younger, and we're talking about some much younger ages then. But there were court cases about this stuff in the 90s stating this. So it's just like, look, your terms of service are ridiculous. And, you cannot expect your consumers to follow all of this to the letter. And the company's lost.
Yeah.
Now, they still put these things out because there's a lot of legal stuff in there that's still important as far as other ways they can use it. But the expectation of the common thing of paying for goods and receiving goods in return cannot be overwritten by paragraph 51 and line 3 of your terms of service. It cannot. There's a basic expectation there that takes precedence on that. Right. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. But ultimately, your original premise in this is absolutely accurate. This is why I don't use things like this.
Can't blame you.
And why whenever if I got to have an extra box or two full of stuff when I move to make sure that my stuff is my stuff, then I will gladly do that instead of just be poof gone.
So be it. Hey, I'm with you. I think the reason why in gaming, where I started to warm up to this a little more, was due to all like the different patching and all the updates and all the retroactive changes that you have going on. But no, I mean, ideally, you still, if possible, wherever possible, having that manual copy is just your idea. When it comes to movies, it's why, unless I'm tuning into something really old school I just want to watch, or like I want to see a few episodes of something from some series, I can drop by on Netflix. Man, when a movie's coming out, or like, hey, Black Panther's coming out on DVD, Avengers is coming out, I am going to have a physical copy of those because I want to put them in my library and I want to look back and say, hey, here it is. This is the block of MCU. I remember when I was watching these movies during this time. Boom.
And what you don't want to have happen is like, I want to watch Black Panther. Oh, that's right. Even though I paid for it, iTunes took it away last month because.
Yeah.
Gosh, you'd almost think I'm a sucker. How much are movies in iTunes? Are they cheaper?
No, that's the worst part. No.
They're not like, buy the DVD the week comes out for like $16.99, buy it on iTunes for $9.99. It's also $16.99 there?
What a lot of people do, actually, a lot of people I know go with the rental model. And I mean, I know rental's super cheap. I mean, you can rent like, $5 or $6 or something. But so wait, let's see here. A DVD, like a Blu-ray DVD combo pack, that costs, what's that on average today?
It really depends. If you catch a premiere weekend, you're paying somewhere from like $16 to $20.
Right. Well, that's what I was about to say.
I just bought my first 4K for Avengers Infinity War. It was a couple bucks more.
Okay, well there you go. But it's about the same. Here, I'll give you an example. In fact, I'm looking at an entry right here, an iTunes store. The Elephant Man from 1980. It's a drama. You can rent it for $4. You can buy it for $17.99.
Oh my God! People lost hundreds. I bet you some people lost thousands. I shouldn't laugh, but it's funny.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's the way these are priced. I mean, anywhere from $15 to $20. The same that you'd spend going out to Best Buy and just buying a copy. Like,
oh my God,
it's crazy.
Now they obviously didn't pull like whole volumes. Did they like? Are there certain studios that are doing this? Is there reason? Like, are there contracts that fell out with Apple? Are they saying what's going on here?
Right. That's the part of it I was trying to delve into a little more. If they had the exact studios pinned down. I know there was a complaint from a user on Twitter. In fact, I can give you the exact lines I had here. That we were talking about one of the Canadian stores specifically. But across the couple articles I've read for these, there isn't there's like this one studio specifically, or it's one issue. Here, I'll read you a quick exchange. This was from a Twitter user, Anders Silva, and he had a complaint. Said, "Hey, 3 Apple movies I bought, they just disappeared from my iTunes library." And then Apple just responded, "Oh yeah, hey, they're not available anymore. Thanks for buying them. Here's 2 free movie rentals on us." He said, "Wait,
can you imagine? Can you imagine if somebody if you woke up in the middle of the night and you went down to your living room and like Apple is in your house? It's like guy from Apple. We're just taking these.
Yeah,
here's a couple passes, some free passes to a red box, but we're gonna take these." You should have read your terms of service. That man's getting shot in the head.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But seriously, how is that any different though?
It's very, you can't really separate the two. It's difficult. But like here, look at this. Here's the response. This is what he got back from iTunes. He said, "Hi Anders, thank you for contacting iTunes." There was a rep named Hansha who responded to him. He says, "Hey, listen, I'm one of the senior advisors with iTunes Store support team. After consulting with the advisor Rose handling your request, I've taken ownership of your case so that I can work directly with you, so on and so forth. I see that you're unable to locate some of your purchased movies. After reviewing the case, I've noticed that the content provider has removed these movies from the Canadian store. Hence, these movies are not available in the Canada iTunes store at this time. However, Apple is
Canada.
Yeah. Chris.
Just pissing everybody off.
However, Apple is constantly working with content providers to expand the iTunes Store catalog and make more items available in more countries." Yeah, this is just amazing.
We took these, but we put all these up. And we'll take those eventually too, but you can buy those.
Oh, man.
That is some giant-sized balls.
Unbelievable, man. So, again,
Somebody comes, like the dealership comes and takes your car. Yeah, no, the GM isn't allowing us to sell that car anymore. But I'm still paying loans on. Well, we have other cars. Are you saying I can exchange for some of these other? No,
no.
no. But you can buy some of these other cars.
Oh man. And
Somebody has to do something here. Somebody needs to smack somebody in the back of the head.
they do. And it's all this, divisive, this tricky language. There's a specific line in the agreement that reads, apps made available through the App Store are licensed, not sold to you. And I think that's the crux of this, the licensing. And the one thing that if you skim any of these agreements, that's one of the first things that'll always jump out to you. Hey, this is a temp license. It's to you. You don't own this. You can do this, but we can do this. That's going to constantly pop up in these. So, but hey, man, you can rent. You want some movie rental credits?
Yeah. Well, if I was an iTunes user, I would only be using rental credits from now on. If I did that,
I agree.
If I did that, this would take me back to the Pirates Bay.
Yar!
You know what? When we're talking about this, and when I initially heard about this, what keeps coming to mind, and it was a fantastic thing, and it was used for a completely different form of entertainment, but it plays well here too, and that was that whole thing with the current gen of consoles and PS4 and Xbox, and what you could do with your games and what you couldn't, and
right.
Xbox is just shitting the bed all over on that, and PS4 they came out with it. For that E3, and they show that quick commercial of here's what you can do if you want to share your game with your friend. Here's what you have to do so, and he just hands him the game.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
He just hands him the game. You bought this. You want to share it? Share it. You want to do whatever you want with it because you paid for it. You can do that. And I went through some extra crap to get my copy of Spider-Man PS4, and they even got my pre-order wrong.
Right.
But I'm glad especially after this, I'm glad I got a physical copy instead of downloading it.
Same. You can actually look at it.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about somebody coming in and just taking it. Just 'cause.
Sorry, dude, not available.
God, have some, and we're having fun with it, and it's because it's shiny. But look, have some respect for people and the money they make and how they spend it.
Because
that's why I laugh, because this is so ridiculous that someone would think they can do this.
And look, consumers are the ones that are backing them at the end of the day. Look, you need people to purchase your product or subscribe to your service, actually just legitimately stay afloat as a business. It doesn't just spawn out of, thin air. And I think to go back and just throw them under the bus is just unbelievable. Like, oh, crazy, man. This is scary. I know this just happened in movies, but this got me, twitching a bit, looking funny in the other direction.
Makes you want to go back to your Steam account and read.
Yeah, about that. I got that Mega Man collection, all other stuff sitting there. Yeah, man.
Oh,
what are you gonna do?
So whenever I do buy a game online through PlayStation or something, I download that MF right there. So get that on my hard drive. Not that someone couldn't just come in and take it. I'm sure you downloaded a patch. Plus, we took our games back. Didn't I pay full money for that? Yeah, but the developer doesn't want to offer it anymore. So.
Here's your credits.
Yeah, here's rental. God, that's horrible. That's so bad.
Yeah,
I really do hope a big, huge lawsuit comes to this and Apple gets smacked for it.
They deserve it. They really deserve it. So it's just low down. There's no other.
Yes, I'm an Android guy and I'm a PC guy, but I am not an anti-Apple anything. I used Apple products through half my time through college, and they were just fine. I just getting out of there, I just went to a PC. It's always been my kind of my go-to. I have no anti anything towards Apple except for what they just did. Kind of anti that. Kind of anti stealing people's stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no bias here.
No.
All right.
A lot of money lost. Crazy, man.
And I told you so, because this is actually part of the reason why I never got iTunes. I've never had iTunes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I remember we've had a couple conversations aside about that. You're like, I'm never getting iTunes. Not going to happen. So crazy. Alrighty.
I don't need the cloud to hold my stuff. I've got a shelf.
Real quick, the most I ever used iTunes for, I remember I was big into this at one point because I had trouble keeping storage space or track of like all my different soundtracks and like physical copies I had. I was just burning copies of like all the different CDs and soundtracks I had and just using really iTunes like a secondary storage spot for that. I know there was a whole phase I went through where I never bought anything digitally. It was just almost like another hard drive. So kind of kept it like that. I need to recover that now that I think about it and see if I can put that on another computer. But different story. I think
we're done with all the horrible stuff that's happened in entertainment this week.
Oh, this is a cloud.
Yeah, this is bad stuff.
Moving on to something a little peppier. That's over in gaming. Looking at Destiny 2, the newest raid, Last Wish. It's done. It's been beaten. It was finished about close to 19 hours after launch. It was beaten by a clan called Clan Redeem. Bungie actually confirmed via Twitter all the players and named them. Now, here's what's interesting here about raids. We've talked, I think, just in the side about World's First and what that's meant in respective games we played. Chris, you got a lot of experience with WoW, World of Warcraft. In fact, you've been on the cutting room floor with this stuff.
I've been a part of several server firsts, not world firsts, but yeah.
But you're very familiar with the idea and the concept and what it's like jumping. To be the tip of the spear, I think, as you said, in gaming like this. What I usually don't see with these kind of raids is a clear meaning world content unlocked for every other player, which is actually what happened here. So it turns out after this raid got cleared, a brand new wave of content got launched for a brand new strike called The Corrupted. And it's been showing up in a specific city. There's brand new missions available on the map, new content rolling out, and a lot of players have no idea what to expect or what it is. But just as we talk now, this weekend they're actually playing through this and digging into it. So I'm sure by next week, or next week's news cycle, there's going to be a lot more about specifics on this. I thought this was kind of cool. A lot of the times people view World's First, Server First as this sort of this cloistered thing, which it is. You're in with your team. You're there to do your thing, and if it involves a weekly farm with that, well, you get in, you hammer it, and now that you know it, you can get through it faster. And I have to spend so much time every single week doing that. But you never really do that under the guise of, hey, if we beat this, everybody else gets stuff, or something else opens up for the entire server. I just think that's an interesting twist. I haven't seen WoW do that. I haven't seen FF14 do it, or anything else current. I'm sure there might be. I mean, do you have something like?
Oh God, I want to say yes, but I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. Yeah, WoW did some stuff early on. Didn't roll it out too well though. Yeah, there's been some stuff, but not much. Generally, they won't do. Yeah, generally this stuff won't be done like this. It usually gets done in. Oh geez, phased in phased content. But not something that's just open for the whole server or whole world to have access to.
Right. So, yeah, it's just it's a new twist, I think. Besides having a way to gear, if anything, opening a different path of progression that wasn't available before. I know there's been some old school crack stories like in EverQuest. I was
going to say, actually, thinking about it, Asheron's Call did several things like this.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, tell me.
Oh, Jesus.
If you can.
15 plus years.
All right. I'll take the surface glance on that. My bad.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
All right. Rob. But yeah, the only other time I think I heard of much stuff like this was like back in EverQuest. There was people knew there was extra server content behind this boss. Like there was like this dragon in this certain pass that you weren't supposed to beat or be able to beat with like a normal party, but people waged war against this thing for like weeks upon weeks upon weeks on end, and it set up camps outside of mountain ranges, and just, well, they finally killed it, and they got to access the content ahead of what I think some of the devs had actually expected. Funny stuff like that. But I don't know if this is really going to become a trend for Destiny or really MMOs as a whole. But I do like the idea, and I especially like the idea that it isn't because X group beat content, not everyone is simply handed something to throw in your achievement log. No, it opens up something else for you to do. You still got to go out there and do it and earn it and actually go through the gameplay, but it's, yeah, I think that's a really fun feature to add. So,
so, I mean, are we complaining about anything here? Or is anyone complaining about anything? Are we actually complaint-free on this?
We're complaint-free.
Okay, because I thought maybe people were bitching about how it took them such a short amount of time to beat this content. No, look. Okay, so we're not complaining. All right, I'll take off my bitch hat. All right. This is how heroes are made in MMOs. Right here. And forever they'll be talking about these characters and these people that did this. And one of the things that Asheron's Call did a long time ago, was one of their initial big patches, was they took some of the there was like 7 or 8 servers, and probably some of the most powerful people on each server, with a developer behind the wheel of an NPC, would snatch that guy from whatever he was doing when he was online playing, and they would act like they'd put him in some different place somewhere on that you can't reach. And they would talk to him like what they were playing the role. The dev was playing the role of a deity, and had a conversation with him. That's got to be kind of freaky as a player.
It has to be.
They didn't do it again. There was some deity in the game, and if you pray to his altar, you could become a PvP player and stuff. And yeah, but they did all kinds of. I mean, there's very experimental stuff like that. Good pioneering stuff. That's great. No, this is how heroes are made in MMOs. Yeah. This is how players become heroes. And they open up this content. I think it's funny because you make the comment about EverQuest, and I would certainly hope that people learned their lesson after that. Do not put something in the game that players are not meant to be able to destroy and get the rewards from. They will do it.
Yep.
They will find a way to do it. If it takes 10,000 level 1s throwing rocks at that dragon, they'll do it. They'll find a way to do it. I remember in World of Warcraft, one of the things early on that they used to do in vanilla was there was a world boss about 3 zones south of Stormwind, and which is the big alliance city. And Horde used to drag this huge world boss all the way to Stormwind, where he would then disappear. But the world boss is right there in the city, and then the world bosses just start attacking everybody.
Holy crap!
It was the funniest stuff ever to see it happen. But no, I mean, that's the thing. People will find ways to do these things that you should not do. And which is why I thought initially when we were talking about this, there was maybe some complaint about them opening up this content so soon.
Right.
No, and that's great. Sure. And they've opened up content for everyone else, and that's awesome. It sounds like Destiny 2 maybe kind of got their stuff together.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying this recent expansion too, and what they've started to do with the raid scene is the Destiny that people have been waiting to play for years. It had a bit of a rocky start. A lot of people had complained, especially in the first, that there was sparse levels of content, that it wasn't quite what they were looking for. But it's taken them time, a lot of time, and careful consideration and listening to get to where they are. And yeah, it looks like they're about there. I think this game is hitting its peak. So. Way to go, Bungie. Not bad, right after Halo.
Yeah.
Cool. As for... There's another dev, though, that I think might be jumping the gun a little bit. And this is just a statement I wanted to hone in on a little bit. We've seen tons of footage for Fallout 76. This was a big highlight game at E3. And we've seen it at Gamescom and about everywhere else and beyond it. We talk about support for a title. You know, how much support is a game going to receive when it's launched? This is something that's really important because if you say you're not going to do any support, well, you're probably going to lose players because they figure the devs aren't very behind it and they don't have a game that they'll be able to play for the next few years or really invest in. Of course, if you say, if you go the opposite and say we pledge our eternal and dying support forever, people start to raise some eyebrows. I think people generally understand in gaming, you know, about 4 or 5 years rolls by, something given, they're going to be taking a look to see what's the health, what's the dedication to this still. Or you can have something like, you know, what EA have done. This is doing bad. Nope, no support later.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different models for this, but we know that Bethesda and crew have had a pretty good history of the games. You know, I look back at like Morrowind and some of the older games like that. People still, you know, log in to play that, and then I look at like Skyrim and even most recent, you know, Fallout 4 as well. But yeah, the basic pledge here for Fallout 76 is lifespan is going to be forever. This is he's like this was a quote, in fact, that from one of the dev team. He said, "Look, we're not being ironic. We actually mean like forever. You know, people have played our old games, and we're going to be able to do this permanently." Now, I just hone in on that because I seriously question it. And the last thing that I remember that had this kind of eternal vibe about it was when I was playing Diablo 2. And Blizzard would do surprise patches with that every now and then that would freak everybody out because they weren't announced. They kind of come out of nowhere. You just log in and there'd be a patch. And there'd be new content or new rune words. People loved that. They went out of their minds and they were crazy about it. You know, D2, it's still out there. You can still go play D2 today, but it's not the same support that had via BNet in the original days. You know, I think this is a little, just personally, I think this is a little grandiose to promise something like this, even though this is a big game and this is likely going to be reviewed by AAA sites and everything like that. I think that sort of ad infinitum promise is a little much.
Well, you read the article, I didn't.
Yep.
So my question is, will they have online support as in they will be doing content for it forever, or they will have it up for a server for people to play on and have the servers up forever?
Their comment seems to lean more towards the latter about the servers being up forever, but they lace that with a lot of revelations about DLC and DLC content. They were comparing their release cycles of old DLC content, and you know, when that dropped, sort of made some hints about that here as well. So there's some mixed language here. I do see how that can be interpreted. I mean, back to the question itself, how long will this game last? And forever. You know, I think that was my kind of sticking point here. The initial question wasn't how long do you plan on server support for this?
The reason I ask, and this is something that pisses me off about games that get released, is, you know, like you said, they get supported for about 4 or 5 years and that's it. The vast majority of that time is just server support. Most games maybe get a few patches, maybe get a year and a half or 2 of content support,
right,
and then they're done.
Right.
Now, EA had made the comment about Battlefront 2. They had plans of doing stuff for that for years. But now, because they can't be milking it for green alien milk, I think this latest patch that they're going to be doing with the clones and all that, I think that's going to be it.
Yeah. And
the servers will probably be around for a while, but something that ticks me off is that they take these servers down. Why? Why are you taking the servers down? Because by the time, if you even had a remotely popular game, if it was even remotely popular, those servers are up for a few years. What are you going to do with those servers? You're going to recycle those servers? Probably not. You're probably buying new servers for whatever games you had. It ticks me off because it's actually part of this, you know, and as we move into online games and content and DLC, we move into a realm of games as a service.
Right.
And in some areas, I think that's very real. People buy these games expecting to be able to play them online. Right. And I say kudos actually to them for saying that this game will be available for you to play forever.
Right.
I would not take that as them saying, yeah, 25 years from now, in PlayStation 10, you can still pull out your old PS4 and we're still working on patches.
Right.
No, I'm not expecting that, but it's absolutely ridiculous that companies take these servers down.
Right.
I mean, if you've got a game where literally no one has been on your server for a couple years, all right, maybe pull the plug on that one.
Yeah.
But we've had that happen with games that we enjoy, where
Yes,
we're still kind of active with them, and they're like, yeah, these US servers, we're pulling the plug.
See ya.
Yeah, kiss my ass, you are. I paid. I can't. That's excuse me. But that's part of the game that you're paying for.
It is.
And that's part of games as a service, and that's part of it. And you want online play. You sold me on online play. I don't care. I want my online play.
Amen to that.
And so good for them for and I think that's something they should say.
Right.
Big thing that happened a couple years ago was Asheron's Call. Bring up Asheron's Call again. Mm-hmm. They pulled the plug on it. Servers have been down for about, I think, 2 years this coming January. It was the end of January. They pulled the plug on it. And, no one was even, they stopped the subscription service, which they didn't need to. When they announced that they were going to pull the plug, they stopped the subscription service. So everyone's playing for free.
Right.
But everyone said, hey, we'll gladly pay $9.99 a month to keep this thing going. Which they didn't even need to do that. The game was in maintenance mode for, I think, 2 years at that point. There had been no content patches for a couple years. These are just diehard fans who are still playing the game years and years later.
Right.
Why are you pulling the plug on this? Throw a couple ads on the login screen, cut their subscriptions in half. You're doing nothing but making money off of this.
Yeah, I think back to FF11 and Halo 2. Halo 2, especially because that was one of the most popular multiplayers that Xbox ever had. That's something that had an active player base on it all the way till servers, shut down. And a lot of people were really disappointed about that. I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, well, Halo 3 and 4 is out, whatever. But, no, I mean, when you have your dedicated bases, look, this even went as far as to, I know you remember Excellent Kai. Halo 2 actually had a home on Kai as well that people would go on. And, I mean, it had its own sub-community where people would go there to actually play it, through third-party means. So, no, I mean, some of it, some people might argue that this comes down to a reappropriation of space, or they just want to, free up to, well, we need to get rid of this so we can, buy up some new servers, elsewhere. But like you said, man, there's so many ways to support this stuff when it's down, and then that even goes more into the essence of what people spend. If they've invested something in this, such as not really RMT, but let's say they've actually spent, they bought stuff in game, or whether that's cosmetic or whatever else they like. There's some real impetus, an attachment for that. If that stuff just disappears and blows up, people feel jilted. So yeah, there's ways to support it.
One that still burns me, and actually burns a lot of people, is the Resident Evil Outbreak games.
Yeah.
And those were the online games that they came out with. It was after right around Resident Evil 3. When the HDD first came out for the PlayStation 2, there were initially 2 games that supported it. There was Final Fantasy 11 was one, and that's the one that came with the stupid hard drive.
Right.
And Resident Evil, I think it was Outbreak. Yeah, it was called Outbreak. Resident Evil Outbreak was the other one. And there was a few more that came out, but those were the 2. I remember I bought my HDD, and they're like, oh, you could play some Final Fantasy. I'm like, I'm not going to play that garbage game. I'm here for Resident Evil. What are you talking about? But they have not supported this game in years. And yes, there are still a lot of people that want to play it. And the only way that people have been able to figure out to do it is that somebody set up a way to connect with, I think, a Japanese version of the game.
Oh, wow.
But I think you can connect if you have a different kind of a non-American PS2. I think you can connect to this still via Ethernet, or I believe there is a way, and I don't think they interconnect. I don't think you can cross paths on this. I do believe that there is a small network of people who are able to play this through their PC, through emulator.
Huh.
But you cannot, and it's ridiculous. If I feel like it, I should be able to fire up my PlayStation 2 and play Resident Evil Outbreak online. And if no one's online, it's because the game's 15 years old.
Right.
Okay. But I bought that game. Support it. If me and my buddies, because I used to play that online all the time. I used to play that online with friends. If we get nostalgic and we want to fire it up and we want to play online, we should be able to. That was like a huge selling point of that game.
That's awesome.
So again,
yeah.
Well, but you can't. It's not awesome because you can't.
No, not anymore. I'd say.
And how much is that costing them to run that?
Right.
And if you don't want us to do it, then let us. If you don't want to do it, let us do it. Give us the code.
Yeah.
Give us the source, and someone else will do it.
Fans would gladly keep that alive.
Exactly. And, yeah, that's what pissed off a lot of people at Asheron's call. It was like they're like, look, just let us run it. Well, give us all the files and all the stuff that we need. We'll keep it going. That's fine. They're like, nope, mine, and you can't have it, and you can't play it now anymore either. Why? That's so frustrating. God, just hang out with iTunes, why don't you?
I think this is one we're going to probably revisit this. I think in future shows about just server space and things like that. I think there's more to talk about in that orbit stuff. I like this kind of thing. So.
All right. So again, good on them for saying, look, you're going to buy this game. You're always going to have support. That I have no interest in buying this game.
Right.
But that makes me a little bit more interested to hear that they're going to look. If you buy this game, you're always going to be able to play it.
Yeah. No, good stuff. It's good stuff.
I'm sorry. I'm going on. We're going way over tonight too. I think.
Oh yeah, we are. See, you're sitting here worried about content. See, this is why. And I always kind of chuckle. You say, I don't know, man. Our list is short, and I'm like, all right.
We have topics like this. Like, go off on it.
I know, and like I account for that. I try.
All right.
Hey, last up. All
on kinds of feels this week.
So many. It's just because it's a negative news cycle for the most part, man. And I'm going right back in the negativity again. Gosh darn it!
Oh,
this is with Nintendo. Now, if you were,
they just got off my list.
Yeah, no, they they might be getting back on it. This was based off the Nintendo Direct report that we recently had here on the 13th. Now, Nintendo for the Switch, they have the Switch Online service, the official service. That's basically the equivalent to PlayStation Network and also to like Xbox Live. Now, keep in mind, like stuff like PSN, that's pretty much tied into paying membership fees for even a lot of games, like even down to Tekken. Like, look, you want to play it online, you got to have a subscription, stuff like that. So this is not something that is uncommon. I think it was only a matter of not if, but when Nintendo was going to get this for Switch, and here they have it. Now, this is launching this coming week. It launches on the 18th. But there's some really awkward mixed signals. Nintendo's sending about this, and really didn't do a whole lot to flesh out attractive features that might really take advantage of the Switch specifically. A lot of this is some very dated stuff we've already seen and that you'd expect from an online model. But here's what stood out that was really awkward. This was taken right from Nintendo FAQ site, but also from the Nintendo UK Switch site. This is in regard to data, like keeping your saves, system memory, things stored in the cloud, and stuff like that. So let me outline the subscription models first. So there's different plans. You can do just a 1 month plan for $4. You can do 3 months for $8. You can do 12 months, $20, and then there's a 12-month plan for 2 or more accounts. Like if you're trying to do like some kind of bulk family package, that's for $35. So you get your subscription model going, and you expect, okay, well, I saved my game. I'm playing Mario Sunshine or whatever it is, or Smash Brothers. My save's there, right? I'll just say this: don't unsubscribe, okay? Don't risk it. This is a quote from the FAQ. If you unsub, we are unable to guarantee that the cloud data will be retained after an extended period of time. You can continue to use the local data on your system memory, but
that's nice of them.
And then the UK site, the UK sister site, said a little more definitively that the data can't be kept outside of the duration of your Nintendo Switch Online membership.
So it won't be at all. So
No.
they're basically saying, look, you lose your membership, your saves, your stuff, all your stuff is gone.
Dude, can you imagine how much that would suck, like on PSN or something?
Yeah. Okay. So let me say this right now. Those are some dirt cheap prices.
Yeah, they are.
So that's something. That's all right. Cool. Thumbs up for that. I'd say. But yeah, look, give them 30 or 60 days.
Right.
You can't say maybe. I don't know. Why don't you let something find out?
Why don't you see what happens?
Yeah, that's.
Man.
I mean, you got it. I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen to people's cards. They get stolen or they expire and they forgot, or whatever. And so it ends.
Right.
You got to give them. I would, if it was me, give them 90 or 120 days.
Right.
I mean, why do companies act like holding on to this stuff costs them more than pennies? God, I'm pretty sure I can get flash drives that hold terabytes now.
Yes, you can.
What is the issue here?
No, it's wild.
Are we back in 2002? I mean, what the crap?
Well, here. If you hold up, I'll sweeten the deal for you. Maybe this will make up for it, just in case. So, there's an online exclusive package deal here. Now, you can get 2 classic NES style Switch controllers.
Oh, I saw this. Keep going though.
Yep, two controllers for $60, along with the plan.
But you can't use them unless you have your sub.
Yep.
That's what I saw. But you can buy them for $60. They need to hang out with iTunes too. Where are people getting? Where is this business model? At some point in the last year or two here, somebody must have had a really shitty, just like conference or something, probably up in like the Colorado mountains in some resorts. Like, this is what we can do to consumers and make all this money and make them feel like they're buying things, but they're not, and they can. What is that?
Man.
Look, we need to keep track. Like, most of the stuff that we saw this week, we need to revisit this stuff, like down the road, and
We do.
See what the hell happened here. So kudos to Nintendo for $4 a month. That's pretty good. But
It is.
all this other stuff. So okay. So just to make sure I understood this right, you can buy these classic controllers for the Switch,
Right.
and they're $60.
Right.
But in order to get access to buy them, you have to be subscribed.
Exactly.
And to use them.
Now,
Someone will have that hacked in a week.
yeah, you have to subscribe to be able to access. I believe after you have your online membership, you should be able to use them however you want. It's just they won't sell these to you without you getting on board with the online service. I believe use is a different story. You should be fine.
I don't know. I could have sworn I saw that you can't use them either unless you continue to be subscribed. I don't know. I could have been wrong on that. That was a headline I saw, but that could have been a misdirect. So that could have been clickbait.
Yeah, I know there were a couple, like how they. I'll give you an example of one that I ran across when I was looking through this. Nintendo restricts new Switch NES controllers behind online subscription. Stuff like that.
Okay, that's probably the clickbait crap I saw. I didn't click it though, so that's I didn't take the bait.
Good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, I'm not that nostalgic. I can, if I really want a really old NES controller, I'll just go look at my NES controller in my closet.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? What are we gonna do a year from now when Demon Ex Machina comes out?
See, right. By the way, I was looking at some more footage for that, and they have basically all but fully explained Human Plus in that game. It's hilarious.
Okay, is there more? I haven't seen it. That must have just come out recently because I've actually been looking for new stuff and I haven't found anything. Didn't Tokyo Game Show just happen though?
TGS. TGS.
Maybe that's one. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Nintendo. It was on Nintendo Direct. I know I saw a lot of new footage there just this past week when they were sort of explaining it. They cycled through the garage menu of the new stuff you get.
That's not the same as the 30-minute video that came out during E3?
It's different.
Okay.
Especially, I found this really funny. So remember back in AC, we were always confused about, man, how the heck can a pilot make that much difference in the power of an AC, like firing back cannons and stuff like that? I could not help but just chuckle and smile with the way they explained it here in Demon Ex Machina, that you not only can take parts off of what you defeat and enhance your arsenal loadout. Actually, I believe that the mechs themselves are called arsenals. But you have a specific skill tree for enhancing your pilot as well. And as you start giving your pilot all these upgrades and like all these different like bionic parts and like, you know, linking with the system and everything like that, by contrast, your mech ends up becoming way more powerful too. Because I'm like, here it is. That's H+.
Yeah, it is.
So wild, but that's looking cool. That game looks great.
Well, and we're gonna have to pay to play.
Well, I hate it. You know, as far as all the online stuff and the weird online exclusive packages, you know, there are third parties that are still stepping up to push the old retro content. Because while Nintendo are more focused right now on some of the upcoming stuff and, you know, new Smash, etc., you still got some bundles going on. You know, Capcom has got a bundle including Final Fight and 6 other games. Gives you 4 players local and as well as online co-op. Now, I'll tell you, it'd be really cool. I need to look to see the version of Final Fight they're putting out. If they're putting out Final Fight 1 and that has at least like 3-player co-op and it's the original arcade version, that'll be hype. Because arcade Final Fight was way different from Super Nintendo Final Fight. I believe the Sega CD port was the closest one to arcade. And Super Nintendo was like something completely different. And you couldn't even co-op on the Super Nintendo version, which was dumb. Like the arcade rock, because it was like 3 players at once. So, oh well. We'll see. But that could be cool. I'd love to play that.
So, Nintendo, just look. If you quit being dicks about it, give them 30 days. You should give them 90 or 120, but give them at least 30 because things happen. People's credit cards get stolen or they expire or maybe they're having a hard time financially. Right. Give them a break. And just make them lose all their stuff because
at least be specific in the language, you know, give
us or at least tell them too.
So
jeez. Tell me you've got a positive info minute.
Here's the worst part. It's really sad too.
Oh my god. This is the last Jagged Edge. I can't take any more after this one.
Hey, maybe we figured it out. You know, we struggle with that movie on Netflix. Maybe this is how it ends.
Could be. My god. That was so bad.
I had to do it. It was bad. But
somebody asked me about that movie the other day. I'm like, yeah, we did a review on it. You should go check it out. You should definitely listen to our review before you go watch that thing. Because he's like, why is that? I'm like, look, there's been very few times in my life where I've actually been mad and wanted my time back after watching the movie. That is one of them. I was literally angry that I had wasted time on that film.
Oh, rough, man.
Well, we gave it each a 2.
Yeah. Half that I think was what, because of actor appearances.
Yeah, you know, there was some quality to the production, and there were some good actors in there. But yeah, I mean, you don't make a movie called How It Ends with that ending, and that's all I'll say. I don't want to get into it.
If you want to hear more, hey, we got that review right here on our channel. Go check it out. But for now, though, it's time for an info minute. All right, Chris, I promise. Last sad story of the night. I'll leave it at that. This, and I couldn't help but laugh because this ties right into something that you and I are both playing right now, and that's Spider-Man PS4.
Ooh.
But this is sad, but this is kind of cool how Insomniac got with this person to try to just help a guy out. Is what they did. Okay, this is a Spider-Man, just general fan, a fan of Insomniac games. And new PS4 release. His name is Tyler Schultz. He tweeted back in May at Insomniac asking for a little bit of help proposing to his girlfriend. So the studio and Marvel, they love the idea, and they said, hey, sure, we can give you a hand. Can you wait until September 7th? And in fact, while I talk about this, if I didn't already give you the link, Chris, I'm going to give you the tweet, at least a link to the tweet itself, so you can see it.
Oh boy, I don't even like where this is going.
So no, it starts off real positive, and then he said, Tyler responded back and he said, hey, we're just past our 5-year mark in April, so I think she'll still be around in September. Turns out she wasn't. So, Spidey, of course, we just had this recent launch here now, and the game shipped with this. Outside of one of the theaters, you may notice that there is if someone else has run across this, please comment. There is this little bit on the billboard itself. It says, "Maddie, will you marry me?" It's in a movie marquee to Spirit in the Game. I wish I could tell you exactly which part of the city, but I can't. Worst part about all this, pretty melancholy. Mr. Schultz, he took back to YouTube just pretty recently here, I think shortly after release, and he said, "Hey, look, thank you, Insomniac, for including this, but I gotta explain something." He says, "The thing that sucks about this Easter egg is the date I'm making this right now." He said, 3-4 weeks ago, my girlfriend dumped me to go with my brother, basically throwing away the 5 years we had together. He said that his girlfriend added that the video game message wasn't the way she wanted to be proposed to either. So, and he said, will this go down as one of the saddest Easter eggs in history? I don't know. Regardless, I'm actually kind of happy it's in the game. If anybody else wants to use that as their proposal, please do. I just want to see someone get married through that thing. So Insomniac's art director tweeted back to him. Said they're sorry. They said, hey, look, that sucks. You want us to change the sign to something else? We can patch it out. And he said, no, leave it there. I'm happy it's there. It's a nice reminder of the mistake that I almost made. So as an update to this, on the 12th, the young lady who was proposed to, Madison Gamble, actually responded to some of this because she's been getting a storm of pretty nasty remarks after all this.
The interweb too has been giving her the business.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. So she talked to the Houston Press about this and about what her parent relationship with Tyler was. She said, "Look, hey, over the past year, the relationship took a turn for the worse." She said it's turned into a mother-son thing. There's some financial issues, etc. I don't want to go into the rest of it. She also said that, look, she never liked video games. She only sat through them because she loved Schultz. She'd given him a month to change his behavior, but nothing happened, so she broke it off. She never cheated on him and did not leave him for his half-brother. She also clarified to Kotaku that she is not in a romantic relationship with Schultz's half-brother and that they're simply close friends, a friendship that developed after Schultz sent his half-brother to check up on her. Storm over.
Okay. So we got some he said, she said stuff there.
You do.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to take some of that with a grain of salt. And what's undisputed here is that
exactly
this didn't work out. You know what? The biggest thing that came to my mind was, I mean, if a video game developer puts in something like that into their game, it's like, that's not how I wanted to be proposed to.
Right.
I'm sorry. You gotta get over yourself a little bit, because that's probably like one of the coolest ways to get proposed to ever.
That's huge.
If I'm not what you say as a reader. All right, we've established this canon in the show for a long time. But if somebody handed me a book from some famous author, and in it was a proposal from my girlfriend to me, am I gonna be like, no? I don't like reading so much. No thank. What?
That it does seem pretty unbelievable. What took me aback about it is I said, hey, you know what? This is just awesome that a studio like this would take the time to look at a case like this and put it in a AAA game like this. That's amazing.
I mean, look, if you don't want to marry him, then don't marry him. But don't sit there and be like, well, the proposal wasn't. That is an amazing proposal.
It is.
So don't be like that about it. But that's a shame. That's a shame that didn't work out. And whatever their issues are, doesn't matter. It's over, maybe not. But who knows? Maybe just like in a game, they'll get some DLC and they'll try again.
Sure. Like you said, look, life happens. It's less about the concern of the he said, she said, the ins and outs there. But there's a very human story here. I think a lot of the time these huge devs there's a natural detachment from that. But just to have some guy on Twitter reach out and have Insomniac respond, cool, very cool.
No joke. That's awesome.
So,
all right. Well, so we're done with this crap week.
hopefully, we're gonna have some better stuff to share with you guys next time. But hey, if you're still riding the storm, hey, look, you've reached the end of it. The waters are calm. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, sorry I bitched so much.
it was just, dude, this was the week for it.
I had some rants. Going.
We need to open a section sometime. Classic Chris rants or something.
Quit being shitty to people. God. Fighting for truth and justice over here.
Oh man.
And your dollars.
Yeah. Oh man. You put a cape on and put the C on your chest and go for it.
That's right.
Love it.
C is for cookie.
Cookie is for me.
That's right.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
No. Hey, I love it. Hey, stay tuned, everybody. If you guys got a rant about this that, you want to just do so in the comment section and respond to us, hey, please, we want to hear from you. Of course, hey,
Yeah.
a like and a subscribe always helps us out, and be sure to jump in right in this channel. If you want to check out our Let's Plays, some of our movie reviews, Mega Man's pretty much in the pocket. The ending to that's coming up, and Spider-Man, we're churning that on out. So if you want to follow that, hey, come on over here. We'd love to have you along for the ride.
Yeah.
Other than that, hey, peace out. You guys have a good one, and we'll catch you next time. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, if there's anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, if you could throw some support, you can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksawmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, pick up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in.